Hello everyone, my name is Yllka Azemi and I am the Assistant Professor of Marketing in the School of Business and Economics. I'm truly delighted to share my presentation with all of you today. Let's start the presentation by taking you all through a journey of the mobile customers. And I'm referring to this as the ideal mobile customer journey. And you'll see why. So this is what happens in an ideal customer journey. The company identifies an individual as a potential customer, reaches the customer out through a message showcasing the product, utilizing any channel such as social media, email, text messages, Google ads, display ads, and the list goes on. In the ideal mobile customer journey, that message leads to the customer purchasing the product. Well, guess what? Well, this is a journey that every marketer and business dreams of. In reality, acquiring customers is way more challenging, way more difficult than what this journey shows. The reality to acquire customers actually looks something like this. A company has targeted a prospect, a potential customer, which has been targeted by dozens or even hundreds of other companies at the same period of time. And both you and the competitive companies sent more or less the same message to the potential customer, utilizing the same marketing channel. So then the question is, which is the company that stands out from this competitive crowd? And the marketing discipline surely presents certain criteria that a company should meet to be able to do so, such as, for example, it requires that the company sends marketing messages out that speak to the customer's expectations, sends out messages at the timing that the customer expects, sends messages out through channels that customers would prefer, and really the list goes on and on and on. But in fact, those criteria just imply how imperative, how important it is to understand what the mobile customers' expectations are throughout their journey. By understanding customers' expectations, companies will be able to discover their journey, which would facilitate their conversion. But this is way easier said than done. Hence, this precisely is one of the key challenges that marketers are facing, as well as one of the key gaps in the mobile marketing literature. And of course, the challenge is even more serious now due to the pandemic, and as well as is the necessity to address this. Hence, this exactly is what my research that I'll be sharing with you today addresses. The research aim is to understand the customer's expectations. Therefore, to discover the mobile journey that converts a prospect into a satisfied customer. Let me first give you some methodological background. And I would want to start on this by highlighting that I have focused specifically on the mobile customer journey because the number of customers purchasing through mobile is increasing. For example, a recent report by Statista says that in 2021, 53.9% of all retail e-commerce is expected to be generated via m-commerce. And mobile buyers account for 60.9% of the US population. I have collected the data through in-depth interviews, specifically with luxury customers. This was the chosen customer group because they are one of the most sensitive, and I would say most unpredictable type of customer groups out there. Sometimes their expectations and purchasing decisions are driven by emotions, other times by cognition and cognitive processes, and sometimes by both. First, I'm always intrigued by this. And second, I would say that it is safe to assume that if you discover the mobile customer journey of sensitive customers, such as luxury ones, it will be easier to predict what the journeys of other customer groups look like. The data collection and analysis drew on the existing theory of the Elaboration likelihood model. This theory accounts how one changes the attitude once exposed to new messages. For the present study, this means that the approach helped to discover how mobile customers' expectations changed open exposure to new mobile marketing messages and new channels throughout the journey, as well as to discover that momentum when customers make the purchase. This is the mobile customer journey that I have discovered. It suggests that the company should send 5 marketing messages dispersed throughout 3 weeks to be able to convince the customer to make the purchase. There are 4 main factors that differentiate the messages across the weeks, and these are the channel utilized to send the message out, message content, message exposure frequency, and purpose of the message. For example, in week 1, customers expect to see a message in Instagram that is in the form of a video where an influencer that looks similar to the prospect talks about the product in context to the threefold: product quality, positive impact that the product will have in the life quality of the buyer, and the ethical grounds of the product and the company. The purpose of this message is to call for engagement, utilizing price discounts of at least 25% as an incentive. Customers expect to see 3 messages in the second week, with the first message being presented in Twitter, the second one in TikTok, and the third one in Facebook. The purpose of these messages is to remind customers about the product. Each of these messages differs in content. And then the 5th marketing message allocated to the 5th week aims for allocated to the 3rd week aims for call to action. The content of this message is similar to the first marketing message that the customer was exposed to. I would want to conclude this presentation by saying that I truly believe that this model adds value to marketing theory and supports marketers to convert prospects into actual customers. However, customers' expectations do change all the time. Hence, myself, other scholars, and marketers remain in a never-ending race to discovering the mobile customer journeys. Thank you.